Hi, I'm Jennifer, and I've spent just about my entire career working for and with charitable organizations. I started out as a social worker and then a program director, and then I discovered that I really love fundraising and helping people turn these great ideas that they have into reality. I've worked with tiny startups and massive international organizations. I've seen just how exciting it is when a new program gets off the ground. I've also experienced the heartbreak that happens when an amazing concept can't be realized because the dollars just weren't there. Times are tough. I get it. I'm a single mom with two kids. I don't have a lot of money to spare, and when I do, I want to make sure that each dollar that I spend is being used for a cause that I care about. So, I had this idea. What if I started challenging people to give to small, grassroots organizations and movements? I'm not talking about the ones that don't bat an eye when thousands or even millions come in. I'm talking about the ones that look at every dollar as a victory and a chance to do real good. Think about it. If you gave just $20 a month or even $20 a year, you'd be making an impact. What if I start a podcast for people who want to start micro giving, but they don't know where to start? Hi, and welcome to the Give Smart podcast. In this week's episode, I'm speaking with Valerie Matthew from Chariots of Love. I'm really excited about sharing more about her organization with you, not only because it's a great cause, but because this is an organization that's really tuned in to the needs of the people that they serve and understands how to make a difference in an ethical way. Chariots of Love is one of two divisions of Caps of Loves Incorporated. The other is Chariots on Ice, their adaptive sport program. Following our interview, Valerie reached out to make sure that we shared information on the history and legal status of Chariots of Love. And doing your research on an organization that you give to, even if it's just a few dollars, is something that I would highly recommend. You'll hear more about it after the interview. So, without further delay, here's our interview.
Hi, today we're welcoming Valerie Matthew, who is here to talk to us about Chariots of Love, and they provide free pediatric mobility equipment to mobility challenged children. And so I'm really happy to have you here today. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate the Give Smart opportunity to share with your listeners.
Oh, wonderful. All right, so why don't we start out by you telling us a little bit about why and how the organization was founded?
Well, I was a volunteer. I actually still am a volunteer at the Royal Palm School in Lantana, which is the largest school for special needs students in Palm Beach County. And I'm actually on their SAC committee and have been for many years. So I just became aware of the condition of some of the wheelchairs and equipment the children were using, seeing things like duct tape and string, and it struck me as odd. And I was wondering, why don't they just get a new one? I had no idea of the process. And then a few years later, I was visiting family overseas and learned of an organization that was doing a plastic recycling program to raise proceeds to buy wheelchairs for children. And I thought that was just a fabulous idea. And our country could always use more recycling education. We're a little behind the power curve on that. And so I began supporting this charity overseas. And after it was about 3 years, I thought, why aren't we doing this here? We've got children with needs here. And I just decided to have my own nonprofit organization to help children with disabilities get proper mobility equipment that they need. And these are families that are either uninsured, which is frequently the case, sadly, or underinsured, or just otherwise unable to receive the mobility equipment that their child needs. And so in 2014, it's actually 11 years ago, I can't believe it, I got my nonprofit status, my 501c status.
Mhm.
So it kind of went from being a hobby initially into, I said, let's make a run of this and take it full force. And we were recycling plastic, and that actually funded about our first 20 wheelchairs. And then the drop in the petroleum market made that not viable any longer. So the original charity is called Caps of Love because we're recycling plastic caps. And I have two divisions under that. We divided it into Chariots of Love, which is the pediatric mobility program.
Mhm.
And we provide wheelchairs, gait trainers, which is a walking assisted device for children. If you think of a senior person walking with a walker, it's something like that for people with disabilities to learn to take steps, and it supports their weight. And
Mhm.
then we also provide standers, which allows someone who's in a wheelchair to be in an upright position when they're physically unable to be upright by themselves. If you think of yourself when you're sitting at your computer all day, you're like,
Mhm.
Lordy, I got to get up and move around a little bit. My
Mhm.
circulation is shutting down. So being in an upright position helps with their digestion, their developing core strength, and their circulation, which in turn can lead to being able to use a gait trainer. And ideally, if some people are able to adapt out beyond a wheelchair, even on a part-time basis. So we provide these free of charge, any child through the age of 21.
Amazing. So, what do you think makes your organization different from other organizations that are maybe doing something similar?
There are organizations, for example, Shriners and United Way, that do something
Mhm.
similar on a very much larger scale, but there's a great deal of paperwork involved, and it's a long, tedious process with medical reports being submitted and everything. And we're actually a small nonprofit. We deal one-on-one with the parents, and we've actually had 3 occasions where the child has received the equipment the same day they asked for it.
Wow.
That's not going to help
I,
it elsewhere.
I
If
think,
we
yeah,
have the item that the child needs and it is suitable for them, medically suitable for them, they can have it the same day.
I love that. I think that that's what really struck me whenever I was reading more about the organization was just how fast things were getting done, and that they weren't going to have to go through all of the red tape and everything that it usually takes in order to get medical equipment into a home. And I think that's absolutely amazing that you've thought of that.
If you can
So,
imagine a family with a special needs child,
mhm,
that's the last thing they need. They
oh no.
don't need anything else on their plate. They're
Mhm,
asking for help. Their ask should be enough.
mhm,
No one's going to lie to you and tell you their child has cerebral palsy or spina bifida when they don't. They're not
mhm.
doing this to gain from a nonprofit. They are families in need, and they're reaching out, they're grasping at straws, and we're there to offer the assistance that we can.
I love this. Well, do you have a specific story maybe that you'd like to share? Something, a time when the organization was able to help someone and you were just really touched by that?
Oh, it's happened
Mhm,
absolutely every time. Every time we give something out, we refer to them as gifts of mobility, quote and
mhm,
unquote gifts of mobility. And we're at 325 so far. And each family is unique, each child is unique. And there's also some children that need more than one device. So my facility, I'm not looking to be a storage facility.
mhm.
Anything that I have, I'm looking for that to be in the hands of a child in need as soon as possible. One story that happened recently, and it's on my Facebook page, was a little girl we had provided her with a gait trainer. She has cerebral palsy, and she's able to walk with assistance using this gait trainer and take her steps in her community and in her classroom. And she is wheelchair bound, and her insurance covers her wheelchair, but she is unable to control the movements of her arm. And she's now 12 and had requested recently for a powered wheelchair. Because she cannot control her arms, she has to be pushed in her wheelchair. She has all of her life.
Mhm.
And just such a wonderful family. I love them to death. So this little family asked for, is there a chance that you would have a child's wheelchair, but one that could be controlled with head movements because she can't control her arms?
Mhm.
And I said, actually, I did have one. It was a wheelchair that I had purchased 2 years ago, and it was a smaller size powered wheelchair, not an adult size, and that would be suitable. So they said, could we try it, see if she could do it? And she came to my facility with her mother, and it was so moving. I almost get choked up talking
Mhm.
about it. The parents picked up this little girl. She's so fragile and so thin, and set her in this wheelchair. We put the harness on her so to hold her in place, and it had a head controller, and she was able, with her chin, to push the controller and roll the wheelchair out of the warehouse for herself for the first time at the age of 12. It was the first time she'd ever moved under her own power. But you can imagine a preteen girl, she's got places to go. She's got shopping she wants to do.
She's ready.
She wants to go. She wants her independence. And I have captured one photo, and she's looking up at her mother, and she's kind of like in shock herself, like, oh my gosh, can you believe what I just did? And she rolled it out. She's a little bit nonverbal. I couldn't really understand what she was saying, but her mother understood her, and she took it out and she made it turn. And I wanted to make sure, was this accidental turn, or like, can you turn it back towards me, Autumn? And she moved it back towards me and was rolling towards me. And I said, you are awesome. She goes, yes, I am.
She's on the move now.
That was on I believe a Friday or Saturday. And she took it to school that Monday and took it to all of her classes. She can turn it and stop it and move it forward, backwards. And then later her mother posted a picture of her going shopping in Target. And she's either going to head for the candy aisle or the toys or the girls' clothing or jewelry, whatever she wants to look at. And she has the independence. And just to see that freedom on her face, it's changed her life. It's changed the life of their family. And this is not something insurance would cover.
That's an absolutely wonderful story.
You can go to our Facebook page to see those videos if you'd like.
Oh, yes. Well, speaking of Facebook, where would one go to find those Facebook photos?
Our Facebook page is actually the original charity, the Caps of Love / Chariots of Love is the name of our Facebook page. And we post all the pictures that we're allowed to. Some of our families that we give equipment to ask that their children not be shared, and we respect their privacy at all costs, and we would never betray that. So not every child is able to be shared, but the ones that can, just really share what we're doing and how you can change the life of a child with something that it seems small to most people, but is so meaningful to them.
Well, if someone wanted to get involved, what kind of volunteer opportunities do you have for someone?
I don't have a lot of volunteer opportunities. When we do presentations, I would really like to have a photographer on hand, somebody that could capture the moment rather than myself as we're doing the presentation, stopping to take the pictures, or having the parent step out of their parent role and take the pictures just to capture it. So to have a volunteer to do that would be wonderful. I could also use help with my social media sites and my website development. So I know there's a lot of young people that are in high school or college, and they're looking for community service hours. We do give community service hours. So if someone's looking to stretch their ideas and want to help out in a way that they're able to, that's not a strong point that I have, I would definitely love for them to be in touch with me.
Perfect. And here's the important part. How do people donate?
We have a website, www.chariotsoflove.org, and there's a donate button on every page. You can click on that and make a donation. You can either make a one-time donation, which is fabulous, whatever you feel comfortable giving. And these are tax-deductible donations by federal law. And they can also do a recurring donation. Some people, they may not have that much money, but they said, you know what, it sounds like a really nice program. I'd like to help. I don't have a lot of money. You know, if you did just $5 or $10 a month, that's, you can't even get Wendy's lunch for that. So if you did that once a month, you don't realize how important that is to a small nonprofit, just to have a steady inflow, and that's maybe not do a one-time large donation if you're not in that position. Another thing you can do if you want to make a donation is find out if your employer doubles it. I work for Home Depot, and they match donations that employees make to verified nonprofit organizations. So you can have your donation matched by your employer very frequently. So look into that, because that's a way to double what you're giving.
That's perfect. So whenever a donation comes through, how does it get utilized? What happens from the point where they give onward?
Well, I have, I believe, 19 candidates that are currently waiting for equipment. And one interesting feature about our nonprofit that's a little different than many that you'll find, actually probably most, is we have no employees, including myself. We have 4 board members that are all volunteer, so we have no salaries. No one's getting paid a salary or compensation financially from this organization. So every penny that comes in is going directly to the pediatric mobility. I do have a small warehouse, and so we pay for that. I have an accountant that does our taxes,
Mhm.
and that's paid for out of pocket. But basically, most of every dollar goes directly into purchasing equipment for these children. We do buy new equipment, new mobility equipment, new gait trainers, new standers, and we also get donated equipment. That's referred to as a in-kind donation, which is
Mhm.
also tax deductible. And we're able to refurbish those and give those to someone in need.
That's absolutely wonderful. And I love what you're doing. And I can't wait to get the word out there to our listeners so that they can get involved, they can make their gift, and they can know that they're making a difference and they're giving smart. So thank you so much, Valerie. And we just can't wait to hear what you've got in store for the future. And we're going to get
The sky's the limit.
Yep, we're gonna get all of these. Um, so Valerie gave us some photos, and we're gonna get those up on our socials and share that. And we hope that you will go and look at hers, and we hope that you'll visit the website. And of course, we hope that you give of your time, talent, and treasure to this great organization. Thank you.
We would appreciate it. And just one in closing, I have a quote that I have on a banner in my warehouse, and it's a quote from Ronald Reagan, and I just try to live it. And it's, you can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. So we may not be saving the world, we're not helping every child, but there's 325 families that we've changed their lives. And that's enough for me.
Mhm. Love it.
Thanks for joining us for the Give Smart podcast. We'll be back again next week. If you'd like to learn more about the organization that we've just interviewed, check us out on our socials. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Give Smart Pod. We'll also be posting more information on our Substack at the Give Smart Podcast. Take a look at our notes for links and to learn more about our featured nonprofits. If you're interested in finding out more about my day job, check out grassrootsnonprofitgrowth.com. I don't accept any money from any of the organizations that I interview, but if you would like to support the podcast, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Jenny Mullinax. That's MULANAX. Special thanks to Valerie for being our guest today. Visit Chariots of Love to donate